I'm Craig Bancroft. I'm Joint Managing Director of the Northcote Leisure Group, and I'm mainly responsible for looking after the wine list and all the drink delivery within the whole of the group, and particularly at Northcote. So we spend a lot of time developing our wine list with our wine team. Not necessarily what I call the champion wines of the world, because we feel that there has to be a level of economics that's sensible for the part of the world that we live in. But the main driver of the list is to give a complete exposure of the countries of the world that are producing great wine, to give a huge range of grape varietal that allow us to match a really good pinpoint with food. You've also got to think about the fact we've been doing this for 16 years. So when you look back at the backlog of 15 years worth of food matching with 108 or 9 chefs that have been through the doors of Northcote's Obsession, with all the different styles from different countries, different continents and different deliveries, we've got a really good understanding of what does and what doesn't work. And we are a bit of a risk-taking organisation as well in terms of the wine matching. So we don't look to always fit with the conventional. And we want to try and be a little bit edgy and make things a little bit different. So when we're looking at those menus, we're looking at a number of things. We're looking at what pairs best, what would be an opportunity for us to use a new wine or a new country or something that's a bit different and out there that gives the client a really good experience. And we make sure that we have, if we're unsure about a dish, we'll ask Nigel and Lisa to perhaps mock up the flavours, not necessarily the construction, but if it's, say, a combination of flavours that we perhaps haven't seen before. Like last night, we had a wonderful evening where we actually had an almond flavour with dill. We weren't really sure how that was going to work, so we actually had a mock-up of how that could be. Now, it was nothing like the dish, but the flavour points were there and we were able to work with that. So that's important. So if there's an unexpected element or something that's not written in the description that's suddenly there, like artichoke, which is quite a difficult match, ginger is notoriously difficult, and you need to know it's there, and if you don't know it's there, then you can have the opportunity to change. I think people are quite interested to know how we arrive at a choice of a wine for a dish. We sometimes look at where does that dish come from, what country are we in? If it's a fish dish, we know that the whole of the French coast, great fish. We know that Portugal and Spain do. We know that Italy does. So those countries made wines to go with their food. They didn't make wines for us to drink in front of a television because there wasn't one. It was all about what they were growing in their vineyards to go with the food that they came from their country or their region. We also look at things that are classical. I mean, we all read books and we all understand what everybody says goes well with what. You can look back on that and think, well, we know that foie gras generally, for example, goes with a sweeter wine, but I have to say, Tamas and myself, we prefer a less sweet wine. We're always looking for differences in that particular style of dish. And the only other thing I would say is that the modern chef is giving us some new challenges. I mean, we're seeing a lot of savoury notes coming through in desserts. You know, people are using herbs, they're using tamarillo, they're using ceps, dried mushrooms, celery, celeriac in a dessert. Now, the winemakers need to help us out a bit here because we need a little less sweet wines, a little bit more acidity maybe in some cases, not quite as complex to allow the flavours of those dishes to work. That's quite challenging. Wine is a real giver of life at the end of the day. If you enjoy wine, you should enjoy it because you enjoy it. There is no real right and wrongs. If you prefer to drink red wine with fish, by all means do it, because at the end of the day, it's like music. There's a billion scores and so many notes in the world you can never actually put them all together. And wine and food is exactly the same. How many ways can you cook a certain dish? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Which wines will go with that particular dish? Some will go perfectly, some not so perfectly, but maybe there's one you just enjoy and you just love. And from that point of view, I think people should never forget it's about what you like and what you want to do.